This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hi everybody, welcome to show 232 Aussie Mac Zone. As you know, we've got Zarn here tonight and myself, Garth's in the process of starting a new project, and hopefully we'll be back next week and we can talk about it. Looking forward to that. How are you, Zarn?
I'm fantastic, Michael. How are you?
Very good, thank you. My eye's a bit tricky tonight, the one that I had the operation on, so that's why I'm keep wiping it, just so everyone knows. It's annoying me.
He's lying, he's just crying.
Yep.
He's
No
a
Garth.
huge sook.
No Garth.
You got to put up with me.
So this week's sponsors, athwebhosting.com.au and Aussie Tech Radio. So our Aussie Apple ramblings this week. New iPhone coming next week, or this week, maybe. Mac Rumors has obtained information about new product-read iPhone 8 and iPhone 8 Plus coming as early as next week. They also confirmed the iPhone X will not come to the product-read yet. So any thoughts, buddy?
Well, I'm excited about it. I always like a new iPhone. I like to see what they're doing, what they're bringing out, and they reckon this one's going to be red. Is that right?
Yes. Yes, it's to go with their product red for the donations, etc.
Yeah.
And will it be an iPhone SEX or something? We don't know yet. They're always sexy, but
yeah.
Will there ever be an iPhone SEX? We don't know. So we've also, there's not a lot of news since we had our education event, and then we had our Worldwide Developers Conference coming up. So, but there's been some good ones. We've had 2 different tests, and the iPhone is still the best. So with the release of the Galaxy S9, 2 companies compare battery life. Phone Arena has been testing a number of flagship handsets in the battery life stakes. Under its conditions, the iPhone 8 Plus clocks in at 10 hours 36 minutes, the iPhone 10 at 8 hours 41, the iPhone 7 at 8 hours 37. Curiously, all 3 models beat the latest South Korean flagships, with the S9 Plus managing 8 hours 22 and the S9 just 7 hours 23. Now, the other company, Anandtech's battery testing, applies different conditions. The Galaxy S9 Plus at 10.48 overhauls the iPhone 10 9.76 and the iPhone 8 at 10.41. But once more, the iPhone 8 Plus wins out at 11.83. So it's interesting that there's such variations in the battery, but depending on what the tests are. So, how's your battery going?
Well, actually, now that I've got the new upgrade, I can actually check on how my battery life is going.
Yeah.
And so let me just there we go. That's me and you. Excellent. So I'm just gonna go into settings, everyone, and check it out. So here we go, battery. So I've got mine on low power mode at the moment because I've got like 20%. I'm going to go into battery life. Maximum capacity is 83%.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't lost too much. You know, I've had this phone for almost 3 years now.
Yeah.
And
it gets a caning with the battery, your phone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I never turn this thing off. It's never off. The kids are on YouTube. I'm on YouTube. You know, when I'm at work and stuff that I need it for, you know, emails, and so it's my everyday little computer in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it's still saying it's at peak performance at 83%. And I thought I would have lost a bit more than that because, like I said, I do use it a lot. But no, 83%. That's pretty good for 3 years. So
yes,
I'm happy with that, and well done, Apple.
So a reminder, this week we are brought to you by athwebhosting.com.au, and this week we have some exciting. We are brought to you by ATH Web Hosting. We're not quite ready to have some more exciting news from ATH Web Hosting, but we are getting closer. It's just taking him a while to work it out while he's doing some other things as well. So. But don't forget, they do have affordable and competitive plans, 99.95% uptime, domain registration available, free setup, auto setup 24/7, instant activation, accepting PayPal and other cards. 250 scripts installed with one click, including WordPress and Joomla. The cPanel industry standard user very beautiful websites, all from $5.95 per month when paid annually. 24/7 ticket support and friendly help when needed.
All
So
right.
I think this is probably the biggest story today.
Yep.
Apple's revamped Mac Pro to launch in 2019 because everybody's been waiting for it and waiting for it and waiting for it. But Apple's
Yes.
redesigned modular Mac Pro aimed at professionals is set to launch in 2019 according to an update Apple recently provided to TechCrunch's Matthew Panzarino, who took a trip to the company's Cupertino campus. The team responsible for revamping Apple's Pro product efforts was there to provide updated details, both on the Mac Pro and how Apple is shaping it to meet the needs of real professional users. Employees in the meeting included John Turnus, VP of Hardware Engineering, Tom Bozier, Senior Director of Mac Hardware Marketing, Judd Copeland, Director of Video Apps, Product Marketing, and Xander Seren, Director of Music Apps Product Marketing. Panzarino was told in no uncertain terms that the Mac Pro will not be arriving before 2019 as the product is still in development. From Tom Bozier, we want to be transparent and communicate openly with our Pro community, so we want them to know that the Mac Pro is a 2019 product. It's not something for this year. In addition to transparency for Pro customers, on an individual basis, there's also a larger fiscal reasoning behind it. Apple wants customers to know the Mac Pro isn't coming in 2018, so those who are planning to make a purchase decision for a Pro machine like the iMac Pro won't hold off in the hopes of the Mac Pro materializing later in the year. That's pretty big to say it's not coming for another year when they were expecting it. Everyone was expecting it this year, going on what was said last year.
So what's it mean that it's delayed a year?
Yeah, it means there's a lot of work going on.
Yeah.
Some major changes.
Yeah.
Whatever else is happening in the background. Yeah.
Yep.
But they're making sure everybody knows, and they don't want to upset the coders and the workers. And
yeah. Well, it's great that they've come out and said, look, this is going to be a 2019 thing.
Yeah.
Like you said, everyone, like people were expecting it this year, but they said, no, it's not going to happen. We are. So do we know a release date then for 2019?
No, could be any time in 2019 at the moment, couldn't it?
Yeah, fair enough. I guess as it gets closer to 2019, we'll probably find out that then.
Hopefully we'll hear some more, yes.
Yeah.
So, April 3rd was the iPad's 8th birthday, which is pretty cool. 8 years old.
Awesome.
That's rocking on. Had a lot of changes in its first 8 years.
Yep.
But also, it was the 45th anniversary of the first mobile phone call. A historic milestone occurred on April 3, 1973, the very first call on a mobile phone. It was the phone equivalent of landing on the moon, but the call wasn't an inspirational message or some equivalent to a giant leap for mankind. No, Martin Cooper, who headed up Motorola's team developing the cell phone, called Joe Engel, his equivalent AT&T Bell Labs, to brag that his company had won the race to produce a working device. While the first mobile phone call was the beginning of a revolution, initially it was a slow one. Mr. Cooper used a prototype Motorola Dynatac 8000X, which was 2.5 pounds, that wouldn't be commercially available for another 10 years. Consumers had to wait until 1983 and put down $3,995 for that US dollars for that one. That's roughly
mobile phones are more expensive in the 80s than they are now.
Yeah. Roughly equivalent to $9,987 US dollars in today's money.
Jesus.
And you thought the iPhone 10 was expensive.
I reckon. So the first call ever made, he rang the guy
His opposition.
His opposition and said, I'm calling from your mobile phone.
Yeah.
That would have been the best. Should have sent him a dick pic after that.
It shows they had serious competition back in those days.
Yep.
But still knew how to enjoy themselves.
That's it.
So I've got a couple of mentions for these stories now coming up. So Apple Music for Android continues to receive new updates that bring it in line with iOS 11 version. The latest update released this week includes a new music video experience following the same enhancements added in iOS 11.3 last week. Now, Apple said last week that its European GDPR privacy didn't have to make any changes because that already exists all around the world for itself. Mm-hmm. Facebook says it will not extend GDPR privacy protections beyond the European Union borders.
So what does that mean?
It just means that any tightness in the Facebook privacy policies and user privacy agreements will only stay in the EU because they've got new rules over there.
So they're the only ones to get the privacy laws from
the extra privacy, yeah.
Yeah, right. And so over here, they're just going to continually,
benefit from our information. Yes.
Yeah, right. That's great.
I read I haven't put in any of the notes yet, but there's a site that someone's created.
Yeah.
It'll guess who you are based on 15 questions that you answer.
Wow.
It just goes out and looks at information. So I haven't tried it yet. That's why I haven't put in any notes, but I thought I'd try it and then probably put it in our Apple news feed and go from there. Apple executives reap payouts of up to $22 million each as restricted stock units vest. Apple executives are no strangers to these types of payouts. The company's payment structure sees top executives regularly reap payouts like these as bonuses after a set period of time, provided the executive stays with Apple. So maybe they don't get paid as much, but they get plenty of bonuses if they hang around.
Well, I think that's okay.
Yeah, if the company's still making money, that's all fair.
If they're doing their job properly, and exactly, the company's making money.
Yep.
And they get a fair bit of bonuses and stuff here and there. Like, I'm cool with that. I would work for less if it meant stability and happiness.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Now, this is where you're going to come in, my friend, because you've done the research.
I have.
Fortnite has finally arrived on your iPhone. Apparently, it is a game, and it was all people were talking about at a recent Twitch conference / meetup. Yeah. So tell me about Fortnite. So I know nothing.
All right. So Fortnite is it's like a platform game. It's similar to Minecraft. Do you know what Minecraft is? Yeah. So it's similar to Minecraft, but it's not 8-bit. I think it's about 32-bit, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so what you've got to do is you've got to be the last one standing. It's a shooter game, or it's fighting. You got to kill your opponent, be the last one standing. You can work in a team as well, so you don't just have to be standalone. You can have a team. Everything around you can be sort of like rocks, steel, bricks, trees, all that sort of stuff can be harvested to build your fort. So hence the name, Fortnite.
Mm-hmm.
And so the one with the best standing fort and the best protection, I guess is the last one standing. And that's how they go. It's really fast paced. Well, for me, because I've only been playing it for probably 4 hours, I was getting slaughtered in the first 10 minutes, if that. That's just being very generous by saying 10 minutes. It's probably more like 4. But I had fun playing it, and I downloaded it on my iPhone. Didn't know really anything about it. And had a quick go on my iPhone. Thought it was fun, and then I went upstairs, jumped on my console, downloaded it to my console, watched the sort of the trailer to the game, and then read a couple of reviews. And I know that my little brother Kane is just obsessed with it. So
Okay.
yeah, that's what I know. I know that it's a great game. It's a shooter and builder game, 32-bit, and I'm enjoying it at the moment. I can fill you in more next week when I've played it for 72 hours, and Kellyanne isn't speaking to me.
I read an article this week about making any Mac a touchscreen Mac, and it was done using a hinge from the hardware store, a little mirror, and the inbuilt camera, and they just sort of hot glued everything together, and the camera the mirror points at the camera, which is looking down at what's on the screen. There's a little bit of settings that you've got to adjust to make sure it knows when your finger's actually touching the screen and where on the screen it's touching, but it actually can see all of that. So there is an article, and it will be in the show notes for wherever you actually look at it.
Yep.
It's really clever.
That's awesome.
It was less than $2 worth of parts.
Cool.
to make it happen. So now a reminder that this week we are also brought to you by Aussie Tech Radio at aussietechradio.com. We have our Aussie Tech Security podcast, our award-winning Aussie Tech Heads podcast, and our new Aussie Tech Crypto show, which is for newbie cryptos with an Aussie perspective. And we've got other podcasts from around Australia, and it's always worth a listen, I promise. Just sit there, leave it in the background. You'll pick something up subliminally, as they say. Personally, I had a couple of Apple Maps issues this week. The Sydney traffic was heavier than normal. I was in the Haberfield area, and so I asked Maps to find the fastest way home. It said to drive around the block and go into the new M4 tunnel. And I don't think this is due to open until 2019. So, yes, I did report it to Apple. Also, when I was out on a car club cruise on yesterday, it was saying you had an hour and 10 minutes to go for the 10 kilometres we had to go to end the trip. So the timing was shocking. So I don't know what was going on there.
Yeah, and I'm having issues similar to that. 10-minute drive to my dad's house, which I know how to get there, but we're just sort of fooling around with maps, Kellyanne and I in the car, and my phone was saying to get to my dad's house from Reservoir Road, turning onto the Great Western Highway, would take me 45 minutes to get to my dad's house. It's literally a 3-minute drive.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on there with the timing.
Kellyanne's phone, because we got them both at the same time, gave us the correct time.
Yeah.
So,
but has she got the latest? She up to date iOS 11.3. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
We both are. Yep.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Now, a reminder how easy it is to sign and attach PDF or JPEG in an email.
Yep.
So we just open the mail, double tap the attachment, move it around just using your finger to get to the signing area where you can pinch to zoom if it makes it easier to sign a bigger area. Tap the pencil tip in the top right corner of the screen. Choose your pen style and colour and sign it, or write, or whatever you want to do. But don't forget to untap the pencil tip in the top right corner to move to another area if you're filling out a questionnaire or whatever. Because as soon as you put your finger on the screen and drag it up, it starts writing a line if you haven't untipped the pencil tip.
Yep.
So that's just one little trick. Now, to share your location in Apple Maps.
Yep.
May not give you the right time, but at least people will know where you are. You open Maps and drop a pin at your location just by holding your finger on the location you want to put the pin.
Yep.
You slide the marked up location. You slide the marked up which is just a little, it takes the bottom third of the screen once you put the pin there. You tap on the share button, select message, you type in a person's name or their phone number, and you press the send arrow. Simple as that. Then they can click on it and open it and know where you are.
Well, that's awesome.
Very simple.
So, yeah, so that's cool. So if we were, say, if we were at a Bobman's Head and you didn't know how to get there, I could then just do that, send it to you, and you'd be able to get there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Simple as that. Or if, if you say, oh, well, I'll meet you at Grafton.
Yep.
I'm on my way, but I've forgotten which garage you're going to be at. You can just send me a map and it'll tell me which garage you're at, for example.
Yeah. Awesome.
So
that's a really cool idea.
Yeah, nice, simple.
Yeah.
Would have been convenient yesterday in a situation I had on my car cruise.
Yeah.
So another little trick, always, because this cost me about 15 minutes yesterday with about 14 other cars following me because I was the leader. I coming up to an intersection and it said, turn left onto such and such a road. And because I was just listening and not actually having a quick look at the map, I was supposed to turn right and then left onto such and such a road.
Yeah.
But it was just the funny way the road was laid out, and like we're talking, 15 metres apart, but it should have said turn right, then turn left, and it didn't. And I was just listening.
Yep.
So I turned left and got back onto a freeway, headed back towards Sydney instead of going north the way we were trying to go. So we had to go back up and around, do this big figure eight to get back to where we were.
Oh, no.
So I put my hand up for that one, for not looking at the map, just listening. So now, our show promotion, show notes linked each week on our show upload, wherever you get it from. There'll be an update for the tell you, click on this link to go to the show notes for this week's information that you might want to pick up or read the whole story, etc. Don't forget Spotify, just search Aussie Max Zone. Apple News is Aussie Max Zone, and you just open that, click the heart button, and there we are. And I'd like to say thank you to our listeners and our sponsors, this week being athwebhosting.com.au and aussietechradio.com, and our supporters. Thank you, everybody. Hope everything's fine.
Thanks, everyone. Remember, Apple a day keeps Androids away. Have a great evening. Thanks, guys.